I still remember the day very clearly, and they said my worst nightmare. It was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, and I remember scootling out of that room as quick as I could after that. And I distinctly remember hopping on my phone and Googling, is there a cure to stuttering? I lost a lot of hope. It seemed like nothing was gonna work out, and this was just my life. I still remember the day very clearly. It was the January before COVID started, and I had started my new job in DC. I got in the room and I didn't know what was happening. It was going to be my first business meeting. And we all sat around in a circle, and the client got on a phone call in the middle of the table. They had these little speakers, and they said my worst nightmare. They said, let's do introductions and go around the table. As I'm sitting there, I'm getting incredibly anxious. I literally start sweating. All of these negative thoughts start flooding my head, and I start believing and thinking, there's no way I'm going to say my name. And it starts going down the list. It goes Hannah, Brian, Jake, Mary, and then finally my name comes up. And I open my mouth and no words are coming out. And I'm praying on the inside. Give it 2 seconds. Maybe this time something will happen. 1 second, 2 seconds. Still nothing is happening. Eventually 10 seconds pass by and my supervisor says my name's for me. It was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And I remember scootling out of that room as quick as I could after that meeting. And I distinctly remember hopping on my phone and Googling, is there a cure to stuttering? And the first thing that I saw was that there was no cure, and it was backed up by medical professionals. And when I saw that, I lost a lot of hope. It seemed like nothing was going to work out, and this was just my life. And I bring up that story because I feel that a lot of PWSS and soon to be PWSS on this call have felt that way at one point, that nothing was going to work out. And there was no organization like Lee's organization that was going to be able to help us. Before I actually went to Lee's program, I went to a therapy group as well that also promoted that stuttering is okay and that we should actually believe that it's okay to stutter and that's how life should be and you should just accept it at a certain point. It got to a boiling point where I had to leave the group, and finally I found Lee's book and things started to change for the best. I didn't know what was going to happen. I honestly thought it might have been a scam initially because it sounded too good to be true, but everything seemed to turn around. And the one thing that really surprised me about Lee's methods and mentality was that stuttering was only a small puzzle piece in the big game that it was trying to play. It was really more about controlling your mindset and even getting to a state where you speak better than people who don't have a stuttering disability to begin with, and you love to speak by the end of the process. I can definitely say that having been in this process for a year and a half and having had the opportunity to coach other individuals, that I really love to speak. Not only is it something that I'm really passionate about in Toastmasters and this organization, but every time that I get to speak fluently to someone, it reminds me of the positive emotions of getting over what happened in that business room of what I first mentioned at this talk. And it's been an amazing experience. And one thing I'll also say is coaching others has really helped me kind of expand outside my comfort zone. Prathusha and I have talked about this, but when you coach someone, you start learning about the program even more, and you really start testing whether you know the actual crutches. Because if you can actually teach someone else, that's when you really are fluent in the subject matter. And so I encourage anyone who's on this call who is a PWSS to get involved in coaching, because that's how you really know the subject matter and you start spreading all this wisdom. I also think that we could imagine if Lee had not created this organization and had just kept to himself after being successful, none of us would have had the success that we've had. So we also shouldn't, you know, go down that role of just succeeding and not teaching others. Once we get over this difficult but very doable disability, we should be able to help others get over their speech disability. And I really like how the organization is moving with Gillespie Hall. And I think that things are going really well in terms of the marketing. And Lee, as he mentioned at the beginning of the talk, has written 2 new books recently. So I'm really excited for the movement of this organization.